God is not he or she, has no sex. God is not only the creator of the world as something underneath and subject to God, but the actor of the world, the player of all the parts, so that everyone is a mask, which is the meaning of the word person, in which God plays a role. And like an absorbed actor, the divine spirit gets so absorbed in playing the role as to become it, and to be bewitched, and this is all part of the game, into believing I am that role, because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he is not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. That's the nature of life. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic, whatever there is, and you're all that. Only you're pretending you're not. And it's perfectly okay to pretend you're not, to be absolutely convinced, because this is the whole notion of drama. When you come into a theater, there is a proscenium arch and a stage, and down there is the audience, and everybody assumes their seats in the theater and are going to see a comedy, a tragedy, a thriller, or whatever it is, and they all know, as they come in and pay their admissions, that what is going to happen on the stage is not for real. But the actors have a conspiracy against this, because they are going to try and persuade the audience that what is happening on the stage is for real. They want to get everybody sitting on the edge of their chairs. They want to get you terrified or crying or laughing, absolutely captivated by the drama. And if a skillful human actor can take in an audience and make people cry, think what the cosmic actor can do. Why? He can take himself in completely. He can play so much for real that he really believes it. It is like you sitting in this room. You think you're really here. Why? You've persuaded yourself that way. You've acted it so damn well that you know this is the real world. But you're playing it. It's because the audience and the actor is one. Because behind the stage there's the green room, where the actors take off their masks. You know that the word person means mask. The persona, which is the mask worn by actors in Greco-Roman drama, because it has a megaphone-type mouth, which throws the sound out in an open-air theater. So pair through sona, what the sound comes through, that's the mask. How to be a real person? How to be a genuine fake, a mask. So the dramatist persona at the beginning of a play is the list of masks that the actor will wear. And so in the course of forgetting that this life is a drama, the word for the role, the word for the mask has come to mean who you are, genuinely, the person. So then this means that you're not victims of a scheme of things, of a mechanical world, or of an autocratic God. The life you're living is what you have put yourself into. Only you don't admit it, because you want to play the game that it's happened to you. Because if you play life on the supposition that you're a helpless little puppet that got involved, or if you played on the supposition that it's a frightful, serious risk, and that we really ought to do something about it, then it's a drag. There's no point in going on living unless we make the assumption that the situation of life is optimal. That really and truly, we are all in a state of total bliss and delight. But we're going to pretend we aren't just for kicks. You play non-bliss in order to be able to experience bliss. And you can go as far out as non-bliss as you want to go. And it makes you realize, you see, how great things are when you forget that that's the way it is. And that's just like black and white. You don't know black unless you know white, and you don't know white unless you know black. This is simply fundamental. So then, let me be perfectly frank with you. That there is the central self. You can call it God, you can call it anything you like. And it's all of us. It's playing all the parts of all beings whatsoever, everywhere and anywhere. And it's playing the game of hide and seek with itself. It gets lost, it gets involved in the furthest out adventures, but in the end, it always wakes up and comes back to itself. And when you're ready to wake up, you're going to wake up. And if you're not ready, you're going to stay pretending that you're just a poor little me. And since you're all here and engaged in this sort of inquiry and listening to this sort of lecture by Alan Watts, I assume that you're all on the process of waking up. So then, when you're in the way of waking up and finding out who you really are, you meet a character called the guru. That the Hindus say this word, the teacher, the awakener. And what is the function of a guru? Well, he's the man who looks at you in the eye and he gives you a funny look. And you feel a bit nervous about the way he looks at you. Because he sees in you God, the Brahman, the Godhead, just claiming it's poor little me. And he's going to eventually, by all sorts of subtle techniques that are called in the Sanskrit upaya, and in spiritual education means skillful pedagogy, he's going to try and kid you back into realizing who you really are. That's why he gives you a funny look. And why he seems to see right through you, as if to say, Shiva, oh boy, don't kid me. I know who you are. But you're coming on beautifully in this act. That you're somebody else altogether. And I congratulate you. You're doing a wonderful job playing this part, which you call the person. My person, a person is a fake. It's the word, it means mask, a mask. So if you read books on how to be a real person, you're reading books on how to be a genuine fake. So what sort of claims must a person simply not make? Well, there is one. And that is if anybody claims that he is God. That simply isn't done. Certainly not in our culture. Although it's very frequent in India, but in our culture, that is simply not allowed. Because both Christians and Jews are deeply concerned about somebody called Jesus Christ. He's a problem to both, because he was the man who came out and discovered he was God. That simply is impermissible. The Jews handled it one way, the Christians handled Jesus perfectly, even more tactfully than the Jews, by putting him on a pedestal and saying, this was the only man who ever was God, and nobody else was really so before, and certainly nobody can be so afterwards. Stop right there, put him on the altar, bow down to him, worship him, so that everything he had to say will be null and void. And it worked beautifully. But you see, the trouble about deep secrets is they can't be repressed indefinitely. As a certain president of the United States once remarked, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. A little extract from Neville. In all creation, in all eternity, in all the realms of your infinite being, the most wonderful fact is that, which is stressed by Alan Watts, you are God. You are the I am that I am. You are consciousness. You are the creator. This is the mystery. This is the great secret known by the seers, prophets, and mystics throughout the ages. This is the truth that you can never know intellectually. Who is this you? That it is you, James Smith or Mary Jones, is absurd. It is the consciousness that knows that you are James Smith or Mary Jones. It is your greater self, your deeper self, your infinite being. Call it what you will. The important thing is that it is within you. It is you. It is your world. It is this fact that underlies the immutable law of assumption. It is upon this fact that your very existence is built.